Hello students, thanks for tuning into this video. I'm going to be talking about how to integrate the weekly planner into the incentive system that we've revamped for April. So how it works is we're going to have these tables that you see here, and there are 3 different age brackets. So there's going to be 5 to around 7 or 8, 8 to 12, and then 13 to 18. Okay? The 5 to 8-year-old category is the Piano Pathfinders. The 8 to 12 is the Crescendo Crew. And then the 13 to 18 group is the Ivory League. Okay, we had fun coming up with those names. So I'm going to show you a sample of a weekly sheet that I mocked up here. And let's first start off with the left column, which is the focus frame challenge. Okay, so the focus frame challenge is starting your practice with a 1-minute focus frame, making no mistakes on a sight reading exercise, and extending to technique if needed. So this must be checked during the week to earn points. Now, why is this important? Well, getting yourself in the right frame of mind allows you to get the most out of your practice. If you just start practicing without focusing your mind, then your practice is not as effective because you will likely be more distracted, which causes more mistakes. So if you do not track your focus frame for that day, then you will not get any points for that day. Okay? Now let's talk about Practice Hero. So Practice Hero is about practicing a minimum of 5 days a week. Okay, so you're wondering, well, Carlo, I'm really busy. I have debate, I have soccer, I have basketball, I have this, I have that. Well, I have shown you guys that you can have a practice that lasts about 5 to 7 minutes, in which you can do a sight reading, you can play a scale, and you can play the hardest section of your piece. So I really want to raise the tide here and lift everyone up in their piano practice and their progress. So in order to score any points for the whole week, you have to practice a minimum of 5 days. Okay? So what does a practice session involve to count as a minimum practice session? Well, it's doing 1 sight reading, practicing 1 scale, 1 chord, and an arpeggio, if it applies to you, 5 times correctly in a row. And then finally, playing the hardest part of your piece, which could be a measure, 2 measures, probably a maximum of 3 or 4 measures, 5 times correctly in a row. Okay, now you might be thinking, wow, that's a lot. Well, once you start doing it and you develop a habit of doing it, it's not going to be as hard as you think. And you're going to make so much more progress than you ever have before. Okay, so that's Practice Hero. And as you can see here, if you practice a minimum of 5 days, you get 5 points, which is a blue gemstone. If you practice 6 days, you get 7 points, which is a yellow gemstone. And if you practice 7 days, you get 10 points, which is a red gemstone. Let's move on to the accurate artist. So, practicing a long time and practicing hard doesn't always necessarily mean that you're getting better. It just means that you're using energy and you're spending time. That's really all it means, okay? So in order to make the most of your practice, you must practice accurately. So we've been doing this, I've been doing this with many of you, timing the mistakes per minute. So you don't have to track this at home. This is just an in-class scoring. So you can see that the different values here equate to different point values. So if you make more than 3 mistakes per minute, you get 0 points. And it goes all the way up to 15. So if you can make no mistakes for 10 minutes, you will score the maximum number of points, which is 15. Okay? And in class, you will have 3 chances to do this. Okay? Let's move on to the technique tighten. So the technique tighten is increasing the tempo of scales, chords, and arpeggios by at least 25%. So guess what? If you only increase it by 10% or you didn't track it, no points for you. Okay? So you have to have a minimum of 25%. And if you get 50%, then you get 5 points. If you increase it by 75%, it's 7 points. And 100% is 10 points. So the tempos must be tracked on the days when the technique is practiced to earn points. So guess what? If you don't track your tempos, no points for you. And finally, it's the masterpiece. So the masterpiece means that you're scoring in each of these categories. Okay? So if you score minimum points in Practice Hero, Accurate Artist, and Technique Titan, then you qualify for bonus points of the masterpiece. So if you score at least 3 points in each category, it's worth 5. If you score at least 5, it's worth 10 points. If you score at least 7 in each category, it's 15. And finally, if you score in at least 10, it's 25 points. Okay, that's scoring the maximum in each value. Or in each category. I'm really curious to see who will step up and get that big red gemstone. So, now why are we doing this? Well, as you know, I've studied a lot of elite performers from around the world in different disciplines, in different sports. I listen to a lot of podcasts on psychology, on peak performance, learning, education, neuroscience. I said psychology already, and there's something that's in common with all the top performers, the students and the athletes who make the most progress in their field, and it's because they track things. Okay, so I've been tracking my practice since 2020. I've been tracking every workout I've done since 2011, and what that allows me to do is to look at my progress and see how I can improve. And I can also look back and see how much I've improved in my own ways. So it's a way to motivate you and also a way to celebrate your wins, which is why we're doing this. So let's do this example here. So you can see from the weekly page, I did a focus frame on every day. And this is just an example, by the way. So I practiced at least 5 days in a row. So if I practice at least 5 days in a row, I gotta get a blue sticker, and I'm gonna put that gemstone on my name here, which is right here. Boom. Okay, now, Accurate Artist. I got a 0.6. So a 0.6 relates to 6 points. I'm just going to write 6 points in that column and tally it up. And then I got a 1.5. So 1.5 equals 2 points, so plus 2. And finally, I got a 0.2, and that is worth 9. So if I total all those up, that's 17 points. Now, this is where you get to do some math. I'm going to take an animal sticker, which is worth 15 points. I'm going to take this cute little bunny here. I'm going to put it on my square for the first week of the month. So that's 15 plus 2. 2 points is, well, 2 white gemstones. So I guess there we go. So I got 17 points for the Accurate Artist. Great. And then Technique Titan. I increased my technique by 50%. So I'm going to give myself a blue gemstone. And I'm going to put that for the first column, which is the first week of the month. And finally, Masterpiece. I scored at least 5 points in each category. So therefore, I get a red gemstone. Woohoo. Okay, now, if we total how many points that is 5, 10, that's 20. The animal is 15, it's 35, 36, 37. So in the total points in week 1, I will put 37. Great. So, class time will not be used to put stickers. Don't worry, parents. I will be checking everything you do in the tracker, and then you can do it outside after your lesson. Okay, so it takes no time away from the lesson, and it's a fun way for students to look back on their progress. And this is going to be posted right outside the studio door. And I want to remind all the students, this is not a competition. Okay, this is something to motivate you and to encourage each other. And as the weeks go by, I will decide what is the point value that students must reach in order to qualify for the next incentive party. So the next piano party. We're going to make it even better than the last one because I really want to help you guys to really show you just what you can do. And you'd be surprised at the improvements you can make. In each and every one of you, I can see you making twice, 3, 4, 5 times the progress that you've been making before. If you commit to tracking your progress, looking at the agenda, practicing what you're supposed to, and building that habit of discipline so that you can make the most out of your practice. That's why we're doing this. And we're really quite excited about this program. Angelique spent such a great deal of time in making these beautiful charts that tracks everyone's stats for the week. And look at this, we have a leaderboard. So every week there's going to be a leader for each of the groups. So that can change from week to week. And then finally, at the end of the month, we're gonna celebrate the winners. We're gonna celebrate the students who have demonstrated a commitment, a work ethic, and a discipline with their practice. Okay, and there's gonna be special prizes for those individuals. So I hope you're excited as I am. I'm sure that you have any questions, and you can ask me in private, and I will answer in the group. And I will also release some more videos on YouTube that give you some more explanation on how this works. Okay, but for now, thank you for tuning in to watch this video, and the tracking starts today. So see you at your lessons, and have a great week, everyone.